Hey guys, what a big day today. All of this talk about the lost ship narrative. I came across this stuff yesterday just looking at the lead sheets, and it's really blown up overnight and into today. And I wanted to hop back on because I've had some more thoughts since this morning and last night when I first posted about this. And hi, Teresa. Nice to see you. I thought that I would have a bit more of a chat about this with you guys. I've done a tiny little presentation. I've been working all day, so haven't had a lot of time, but I thought we'd get on and have a chat about this. I think also we may read through a little bit of Kathy Shank's testimony because, wow, that testimony just does not add up with what we're finding here. So as usual, I've got the short little presentation. It's really just got the documents on it. I know most people won't be watching now because it's a inconvenient time, I suppose, for people over in the States. But appreciate you being here, Teresa. Thank you for joining the chat. And anyone else who joins, feel free to have a chat as we go along. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because I've worked a long day and I'm pretty tired, but I wanted to still hop on and have a chat. Also, shout out to all the people who have been promoting my channel in the last day and a half. Really appreciate all of you guys for promoting the information that I've put out, and also for crediting me with coming up with some of the things that we've been talking about today. So really, really appreciate that. No worries, Teresa. You lay down and relax. And hey, Rotstar, I remember you. You've been in here before. I remember your beautiful puppy. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna I'll keep an eye on the chat because none of my mods are gonna be in here at this time, just in case there is any drama. I will keep an eye, but I'm probably mostly gonna read off the presentation to begin with. So without further ado, I'm just gonna open it up. I've got way too many windows open, as always. Okay, so I've called this Cleared. The Lost Tip Narrative. Was Richard Allen fully cleared in 2019? So this is just a theory I have. I mean, he may have been cleared in 2017 or it may be 2019. I don't know, but it's a little theory that I sort of have developed today thinking about this in a bit more detail. So, oh, I just realized I can make it smaller and larger on your screen. Okay, that wasn't my intention. Okay, so did law enforcement review Rick's lead while conducting the cast geofence analysis in 2019? That's what I'm asking today because the timing's just a little bit too coincidental. As I always say, there's a disclaimer here. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not a legal professional. I'm a psychologist who has taken a real strong interest in this case. I've always been into true crime, but I'm certainly not trying to say that anything that I'm hypothesizing is correct. I'm just speculating based on publicly available information and my own critical thinking skills. Yeah, don't take anything I say as complete fact, but I think it's something worth considering. So this is just a little bit of a summary of some of the things that I have been talking about over the last couple of days. So we're going to look at the specific exhibits in a minute, but most of you've probably seen them. All Eyes has that wonderful website that has the availability of all of this, but they're also floating around on X and also on YouTube, on other people's channels. People have been talking about this. Cryptex did have a chat about this earlier today as well. So Kathy Shank is logged in and printing a page in October 2019. And this is big, right? Because this does not match up with the story we've been told. The other document that goes with this, so it's 3 pages. I'll just quickly show you them. We'll go over them in more detail, but these are the 3 pages I'm referring to. This one here is the one that has the date on it that says 2019. And you'll see at the top, Kathy Shank is the person logged in. This one here seems to be the original sheet. You can see the print date on that is the 18th of February, 2017. I believe this was printed for Dan Doolan to follow up. Makes sense, doesn't it? Because it's got his name up the top here too. Someone has written his name on it, I think, and suggested that he follow this up. And this is the printed sheet that he took with him. This is the one that was found in the filing. And then this here is the cover of the manila folder. Now, I believe this is Kathy Shank's writing because I believe it's her who was labeling these folders. Just a side note, notice the D. Notice the D, right? To me, that looks similar, but we can do a side by side maybe at some point. Okay, so going back to this, the document has writing on it from what looks like two different people. So we're going to look at the handwriting, and we go here. This writing and this writing does not look the same. It looks like two people have looked at this at various points. The Nothing New and Phone Info sent to ISP looks to be an update on this, and I'm questioning when it was written. Was it written in 2019 after this was discovered again, as per the date on the other sheet? I hope I'm kind of being clear here, but have a look here. Nothing new, phone info provided to ISP. I'm just curious, right? Because this looks like this here is an update after the fact. I don't think Doolan wrote this on here because Doolan had this typed in. And there is another document which actually has his Word document that he typed in, right? But this is Doolan's notes from then, not this. This here, I believe, I would love to see Kathy Shank's writing, but this here, I believe, is a follow-up. And I think this is in 2019, and I'm going to explain why. So in November 2019, the cast report was completed. And this utilized geofencing and tower dumps to identify phones in the vicinity of the crime scene. So a lot of us have seen this document too. Actually, I don't have this on the screen. I'll bring it up in a minute. Sorry, guys, bear with me. I'm doing this on the fly today after a long day of work. And hello to everybody who's come in. Thank you for joining. I'm not watching the chat too much, so apologies if I'm not chatting to you guys. Okay, here we go. This one. Right? This again is available on the Google Drive, on All Eyes Google Drive. And it says FBI 2019 cast report, read geofence warrant, November 2019. And some of us will have seen this has these pictures here that show 3 phones that pinged in the vicinity of the crime scene, none of which belonged to Libby or Rick Allen. Now, I don't think this means that Libby's phone didn't ping in the crime scene because it probably did, given that it was there, I believe, all night, but it means that Rick was not one of these phones. Doesn't mean Rick wasn't on the trails, guys. Watch my geofencing presentation if you want more information about that, but it doesn't mean that Rick wasn't on the trails that day. This is not inculpatory information like some people suggest. It just means he wasn't one of the people in the crime scene area, and that's important, right? So this report here, coincidentally, November 2019. So now let's go back to, here we go, back here. So when we look at this sheet here, look at this day, late October 2019. And we tie it up with this, nothing new, phone info provided to ISP. To me, this suggests that somebody was following up leads in 2019 and using them to look at the geofencing and cast report, or to use to make the cast report. Now, just one more thing, going back to this sheet here, and I've mentioned this before as well in previous posts, but you can see it's Kathy Shank. This is the date it's printed. And here it says, here, page 1 of 1. Oh, sorry, guys. Everything's showing up at the same time. And it says here, browse, somewhere around here. It's too small for me to see, but you'll see around here, it says browse thread. So somebody was deliberately, in this case, Kathy Shank was deliberately looking at this particular one. Now, even if she says, well, she was only looking at it in order to print it for ISP, the fact is that does not match the narrative that she has given in her testimony. And we're going to look at that in a minute. So I guess if you're following right now, I'm feeling a little bit jumbled tonight, guys. I've got a bit of a headache, but I just wanted to see if I could kind of get this out now and explain it, because I do think it's so relevant. This sheet here has been printed in 2019 by Kathy Shank. It is 1 page of 1, so she's deliberately logged into investigative thread 75, and she has then printed this off. This has then been stapled at somebody, I think it's Bella May on Twitter. I'm trying to credit everyone for all of their teamwork here. This here was stapled to this here. Look at the staple marks, they're matching. This sheet here has been printed in 2017. And I think this is what was in those bankers' boxes, right? This was all of the stuff they printed about the people that were relevant and they wanted to have hard copies of, perhaps, or they hadn't shredded it. Who knows what they were doing with it. But basically, this is the one that Dan Doolan had. And then Kathy Shank, at some point in 2019, has decided we need the other half of this. We need the narrative because we don't have the phone info on this, do we? So she's gone in and she's printed this, which does have the phone info here, the Mead and Mead hex. And then she has, I believe, or someone has written this, nothing new, phone info provided to ISP. So I could be wrong, but it seems a little coincidental that this sheet was printed in the days leading up to the time where they were looking at the cast report. They were creating that based on the geofencing. I've always believed that Rick was cleared based on the geofencing data. I believe there's proof somewhere on his phone or with his phone details that he was no longer at the trails during the crime period. And I think the geofencing data shows that. Now, we know that law enforcement and the prosecution were absolutely not wanting that geofencing data and that full cast report to be included as part of the exhibits and evidence at trial. They worked super hard to suppress that, and they got away with it, of course. But again, if you look into the geofencing presentation that I did a couple of weeks ago, you'll see that whole issue there and why it's so concerning, because that geofencing information could have been tested or reviewed for Rick's Mead or Mead hex number and his details to rule him out, to map his timeline. Because all we've ever been told by law enforcement or the prosecution is that Rick is not one of those 3 particular phones. We haven't been told that he wasn't on the trails that day or that his phone didn't ping on the trails that day, because if his phone did not ping on the trails that day, they would use that against him to say that he had consciousness of guilt, like, it was premeditated and he wanted to make sure that his phone was off or he left his phone at home. That would absolutely be something they would use against him. And the people who believe he's guilty already do that. They go, oh, that doesn't look good. His phone wasn't on the trails that day. But that has never been told to us. That is an interpretation that people have made. His phone would have been on the trails that day. Of course it was, because he went for a walk on the trails that day. And that geofencing information could have told us when he left the trails that day. And I believe it did. I believe it did. But that has been suppressed. Now, this is huge. This is not just a small detail. We've got a testimony that makes no sense. We've got missing geofence data. We know that in August of 2024, this is just months, literally a couple of months before the trial starts, that the defense team does not have all the geofence information. Have a look at the August 1 transcripts and you'll see Jennifer Auger asking for that. It's not available. Where is it? And we also know that they were provided with this map with the circles with the 3 phones that pinged in the area. And again, we hear the defense requesting the full cast report. Where is the full cast report? Who knows? They didn't get it provided. I believe McClellan plays dumb, doesn't know what the report is. No, we've given you everything. There is a good reason for that, because I believe that report was done using all of the witnesses, all of the people on the trail's phone information to rule people in and out. And I believe that not only ruled Rick out of being in the crime scene specifically, but it ruled out him even being on the trails post probably around 2 o'clock. But Rick left before the girls were abducted. This is massive, guys. This is not a small issue. I hope that the lawyers can use this. I have emailed Andy Baldwin today. I hope that he sees it and he feels that there's something we can do to act on this. This is just ridiculous, right? I don't think I'm alone in thinking this is ridiculous. We're going to look at Kathy Shank's testimony to show just again how this is not consistent with what she is sharing. I'm going to have a quick look at the chat, guys. I'm getting super emotional about this. I felt from early on that there was something to do with that Mead hex number. I just felt like there was something to do with that, because why did they go to the effort of taking the battery out of Rick's phone and get that detail, and then it was never followed up? But it's on the PCA, so it looks like it was. It makes it look as though they have some sort of digital evidence that they've kind of used against him. So on the PCA, it looks pretty convincing, right? And it's awful because they didn't use that. I seriously feel now that there's a very good chance, I've always felt this, but I'm going to say it again now, that that 2017 phone that was missing was not Rick's fault that it was missing. I believe that somebody deliberately ensured that that phone was missing, because every other phone was there. This family seemed to like to keep their mobile phones, and every other phone was there, but not that one. I believe Rick was on one of those pay-as-you-go plans, so he didn't do the, the upgrades you can do where you hand in your old phone and you get a new phone. He was on, I believe, kind of like one of those budget ones. I do the same thing. You buy your own phone outright, and then you just use a sort of a SIM and pay as you go, and it's cheaper. And I believe he kept every phone because there was no upgrades, and that one phone is missing. Because if they had that 2017 phone, of course, that would have been subject to things like Celebrite and all of those things that I don't know a lot about, but it could, again, potentially have helped them to figure out his movements that day. And guess what? They don't want to figure out his movements that day because they already know his movements that day. His movements that day are exculpatory because Rick went there, he walked up to the bridge, he sat on the 505 bench, and he went home. He did not abduct and murder two girls. He has no history of crime, no history of aggression. He is a vulnerable, sensitive man who ended up being in the wrong place at the wrong time because they have now been able to pin it on him. So my feeling is that phone was not disposed of by Rick. I mean, let's be realistic anyway. I've said this so many times. If Rick is a deviant person in the way that they claim he is, then he isn't just going to be deviant in 2017. We would have seen evidence on the other phones of deviance. You wouldn't just dispose of one phone. That looks suspicious. If he's this mastermind that doesn't leave DNA at the crime scene, who manages to live in plain sight for 5 years, but he's silly enough to just dispose of the one phone, and he's cleared all the other phones of anything incriminating. And he's silly enough to leave the round in his memory box because that reminds him of the silly thing he did at the trails that day, which was rack his gun and drop a bullet that could link him to the crime scene. We know that science is completely debunked. Watch my other toolmark presentation to find out more about that. It's just ludicrous. This narrative is ridiculous. We already thought it was ridiculous when we heard that she was rifling through boxes and found this and went, aha. But now when we have these dates on the documents that just don't add up, come on. Now let's actually read a little bit. Sorry, like I said, guys, I am really passionate here. I can see you guys all concur. So awesome. Just going back into the chat, actually, before we go to Kathy Shank, I saw Big JD, you said, what's Occam's razor in this case? I mentioned this actually on my first myth busting video that I did last week. Well, Occam's razor says that the simplest solution is usually the right one. And people who believe Rick Allen's guilty say that's the simplest solution. Well, guess what? No, it's not, because the chances of a man like Rick, with the history that he has, psychologically, there is no deviance in his history that we know of. He's had no other crimes. And this crime, if he were the perpetrator, occurred when he was middle-aged. It's an organized crime. He's then lived in plain sight for 5 years, but then when he's arrested, he maintains his innocence until 6 months later, and he kind of goes downhill, and then he confesses. Like, none of that adds up. So if you put all of those details in to any search system and try to find another offender with those characteristics that's committed a sadistic crime, you won't find anyone. you will not find anyone. Okay. And so, what's actually most likely in this case is something that is more statistically probable, and that is police wrongdoing. Now, again, these are all alleged accusations, but I think our case is building up very strongly here. Don't you think? Before I actually go to Kathy Shank's testimony, I just remembered something else that I've got in my presentation. Give me a second. So this here was posted by Yellow Jacket, who is awesome on Twitter. And have a look at this. Now, I've got it pretty small on my screen, so I can't look at it very carefully. But again, look at the dates on here. This is before Kathy Shank allegedly found the documentation. Now, this isn't an official exhibit. I don't know where Yellow Jacket has sourced this from, but it is supplementary information that goes with the thread on Rick Allen. And here we see the name changing occurring earlier in 2022. Again, it doesn't fit the narrative. So, without further ado, let's look at Kathy Shank and what she says. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, that's kind of boring, but I wanted to pick out a few things that I felt were really notable. So bear with me, guys. I'm going to scroll on the screen a little bit. She basically, I guess if we read her testimony, one of the things she says is that she initially was just filing from the banker's boxes. So it was just filing. She wasn't printing anything. Hey, Critical True Crime, thank you for joining. She was just doing filing and labeling. She wasn't printing anything. She never says anywhere here that she was following things up and printing them. So why did she print that in 2019? It seems that later on in the testimony, we see that she says she was entering in tip narratives. She was entering them into Orion. Again, this tip narrative was entered in a long time ago. We can see again when we look at it. I keep having to go back to it because it's just it's absolutely unbelievable, honestly. Guys, my goodness. We can see here this last activity was 2017. She wasn't the one writing this tip narrative. This is exactly what Dan Doolan had in his own report. I actually feel a bit sorry for Dan Doolan because he was thrown under the bus for this. Dan Doolan didn't clear this. Dan Doolan maybe did write a pretty crappy narrative, I have to say. I don't think his details were particularly good here. But I actually don't think that this is on Dan Doolan, right? Anyway, I mean, look, still, he's part of this police force. He must know that this is, no, not must. I'm just going to say he probably would know, surely, right? He'd have to know that this is dodgy. But anyway, look, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he should have been thrown on the bus, though, right? Sorry, I'm not reading the chat. I'm just having a look now, Charlotte. Give me 1 second. Why didn't Kathy? Sorry, I'm just opening it up. Sorry, Charlotte. I wasn't ignoring you. I'm on a bit of a roll chatting here. So Charlotte says, I think BG came up behind the girls, up the hill, past them, then turned around. Yeah, possibly, completely. I think that there is more than one offender here. I believe that, yeah, there's definitely some people that joined the crime from the other side. Charlotte says, why didn't Kathy flag up in 2019 when she printed it off? Exactly. Sharon's saying this case breaks and also makes my blood boil. I have to take breaks. Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, I've just never felt so passionate about a case before. For goodness sakes, it's just ridiculous. Just reading some other people. Kathy's far from a saint. She has done very terrible things in her career. Yeah, look, I mean, I don't know much about her, but I'm sorry. This is very, very fishy, isn't it? As Cryptex was saying earlier today, it's very fishy. It's, yeah. I'm obsessed to critical true crime. I've always been really into true crime. I've always loved following cases. This is the first one where I've got so actively involved though, making videos, talking about it, advocating, writing to lawyers. I've really gone all out over the last few months. It's definitely been so consuming, but totally worth it because Rick needs people on his team. He needs people to advocate for him. So, Yeah, critical true crime. I've never seen such an injustice either. Actually, I should be putting your comments on the stage so people can see what I'm actually talking about when I'm responding to you. Yeah, it's so sad. And Rick's already had a few years of his life ruined by this. It's abhorrent. So okay. Sharon, I believe I saw on X, Joshua Jackson, who's awesome, had actually put up some information around how you can send, I believe you can send Amazon books to Rick and you can write to him as well, even from outside of the States. I know back when I first started doing some of this stuff like a few months ago, there was an app or a website that you could actually get onto and you could send him messages. I didn't get any replies, but I did send him a few messages of support and sent him a picture of Daisy, who you would have seen in my beautiful intro. So yeah, you can actually contact Rick. I believe there are various ways, but if you go onto Twitter, onto X, Joshua Jackson, if you follow him, a low light recovery, I think is what he's called on Twitter. He has lots of great stuff around how to contact him, and he gets updates and things like that. So, gosh, guys, like I literally am spinning. I'm spinning. It's just insane. I can't wait to see this play out and justice to be served. Please, I hope something can be done right away, because the good thing here is that we have potentially evidence somewhere that is exculpatory for Rick. Hence, he has been cleared. And I think that evidence is either buried in discovery. But if it's not buried in discovery, there is a way to contact Google and to request records of what was requested to them by the ISP or Unified Command or FBI. So there is a way to prove that information has potentially been suppressed. That's a Brady violation. I don't think they have to wait to PCR. I'm not a lawyer though, so I'm really keen to hear the lawyer's perspective, hence why I've sent this to Andy. I've tagged Cara Weinecke on Twitter as well. And if there's any lawyers in here that are interested in giving me some information, for sure, let me know. I'm not a lawyer. I try to do my little AI ChatGPT legal stuff, and I know that's not always accurate. So I don't profess to be a lawyer, but yeah. Charlotte, you said Rick's doing okay. Have you had contact with Rick? I think I may have seen you before, Charlotte. I believe you did have contact with Rick previously, if you're the same person I'm remembering. And I agree, guys, the real killers are still out there. I worry about that, the true justice for Abby and Libby, because I think a lot of the time the people who support Rick Allen get seen as like, we don't care about Abby and Libby. Of course we care about Abby and Libby. Of course. They're on my mind. They are in our thoughts. They are such tragic victims here. But I care about Rick too, because he's also a victim. And we may not be able to help Abby and Libby get true justice because everything has been buried and messed up. But we can get justice for Rick. He doesn't need to be another permanent victim of this crime. I mean, unfortunately, he'll forever be a victim of this crime because he has spent the last 2.5, 3 years now, isn't it? 3 years, goodness, in custody. And goodness knows the horrors. Well, not goodness knows, we do know the horrors that he's experienced. And I worry about his mental health. I worry about, the injuries that have been caused by, even the self-harm during his decompensation. I know that he had some pretty serious bruising to his head and face. It's really sad. When Rick gets out, if he needs a good trauma therapist, I'm not volunteering myself. I do think I am a good trauma therapist, but I'm not objective here. But I would absolutely love to help. Hopefully, link him up with someone who can do the best trauma therapy ever and support him in getting back on his feet, and not only help him with the PTSD that he would be struggling with now, but also with the lifelong difficulties that he's had with his mental health that were never, from the sounds of it, fully addressed throughout his life. And I hope that he can live out the rest of his life and finally, not only have justice for this, but also live a life where he can he can feel good about himself, because any of us who've looked at the psych history, you know, from what Westcott said, he's a man that's had this lifelong battle with his mental health and with his confidence. And I hope that not only can he come out of this and recover from what's happened to him, but he can come out stronger as well. I mean, not stronger, actually. I hate using that word strong, because it's not that he wasn't strong, but feeling more confident. And yeah, I agree, Charlotte. I do believe he will get out. I said the other day, I will not stop until he does. I will literally be an old grandma, and I will still be fighting this case if he's not out, because yeah, this is totally unfair. And yeah, I just cannot believe the injustice here. Okay, guys, I just want to go to Kathy Shank a little bit. I'll still try and watch the chat. You guys are awesome. Oh my goodness, it's so nice to find so many kindred spirits in this community. I have made some amazing friends, and I'm so glad there's more of you guys joining the channel and chatting to me. And I love meeting all of you guys, because you're all like cut from the same cloth, lots of empathy and little, like, well, not little, we're all justice warriors. I love it. I love it. I love the beautiful community that we have here. So let's go back to Kathy Shank. I am just ranting mostly today on the live. This is not super organized, but I know you guys don't really mind, because I think we're all ranting together collectively today. I was so happy, because I found this yesterday afternoon my time, so it's evening my time now. And as soon as I found it, I was like, what? You know, WTF. I don't swear, guys. That's why I say WTF. I literally was like, what? And I straight away messaged my wonderful friend, Diana, Dirty Diana's channel. If anyone ever watches it, she's awesome. And I was like, have you seen this? And she was like, oh my gosh. And then I decided that I needed to start posting this prolifically on all of the different social media. And luckily, like, people really picked it up and actually took it seriously, and woke up this morning to see Cryptex doing a live and actually referencing my channel. Thank you so much, Cryptex. Like, amazing. And talking about this, and just a flurry of activity on Twitter. It was amazing. I do want to say, though, actually, interestingly, when I went onto Reddit yesterday, and I posted this on Richard Allen is Innocent on the sub there that I'm a member of, I realized, and I scrolled down later, that there was another person who had also picked up on this. So shout out to, I don't know how to pronounce it, Redowif. Sorry, I'm going to say your name incorrectly, but I know that that it is someone who is friends with my other great Delphi buddy, Holly, the second location, and another really trusted source as well of information. So I think that we're all kind of simultaneously, we're starting to like join the dots and connect it. And I think since this has all started, I think more of us have got on board, and it's the teamwork. People are discovering bits and pieces here, there, and everywhere. We're pulling all the threads together. I love it. I love the threads getting pulled together, guys. And I'm sure that more threads will be pulled together over the next few days. There'll be more and more people who will look into maybe all the different testimonies and all the other information. We'll bring it all up together. One thing actually I did want to say, if anyone here or anyone watching knows, where did they get the date for the cast report? Because I saw it on All Eyes on the Google Drive, and it said November 2019, and I've seen it referenced as 2019, but I couldn't find the official source of the date. But I'm going to assume All Eyes is across everything, so I'm going to assume that that's the correct date. But yeah, if anyone has that, that would be wonderful to see. Oh my goodness, Critical True Crime, you are a sweetheart. You are such a sweetheart. Thank you so much. I do have some haters. I think that they may change their mind now. I think the reason, just going into that before I go into Kathy Shank's testimony, is because I may be an acquired taste for some people. I'm proudly neurodivergent. I'm very, very passionate, and I speak my mind, and I don't give up, and I'm repetitive and perseverate on things. And I think that can maybe put some people off, and maybe some people think that loudness and repetition is arrogance. But I hope anyone who listens to me for more than 5 minutes realizes I'm not arrogant at all. I am somewhat confident in my capacity to analyze information. Yeah, but I don't think that I think I'm better than anybody else, or that I'm going to be the savior here. Not at all. So, hey, Oleg Cat, nice to see you. I like your picture. I love meerkats. But yeah, like, I mean, of course, I would love to be part of this story. I would love to one day meet Kathy and Rick and speak to them, but I'm not going, oh, I want to meet them. And they go, thank you so much, Amrit. You're the best person ever. I mean, if they said that, wonderful, but that's not what I'm doing this for. Like, I really just, yeah. Anyway, I think we all like validation. Who doesn't? I'm not going to pretend that I don't. But anyway, sorry. You guys are like, hearing me just ramble. I have just done a long day of therapy, and I've been buzzing all day about this at the same time, so my head is a bit fried. But yeah, so let's look at Kathy Shank. Just a few things. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I don't have the attention span to do that, and maybe someone else has read it out already. But let's thank you guys in the chat. You guys are the best. Honestly, thank you so much. You're so kind. I really love that. It's really beautiful. Also, shout out to Delphi Docs, because we have not always had a very good rapport, but I did appreciate that Delphi Docs did actually say that I'd done a good job today. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Delphi Docs. Okay, so even if you guys didn't like me before, or if you've had any beef with me, please know that I will not continue to have that beef with you. So if you guys maybe in the past thought that I was not credible or said some mean things, because there were some mean things said, we can let it go. I totally don't care. I really just want to be a team player here, guys. Okay, so there was something, it was in the cross-examination. So let me just go down. Sorry, guys, this makes your eyes dizzy if you're watching this. Cross-examination, here it is. Who was cross-examining her? Is it Andy? Yeah, it's Andy. You can kind of tell because Andy and Brad have a very different style to them. So Andy says, sorry guys, my ADHD brain's not great at organizing things like this. I'm good at pulling things together, but I need time to do it. It's coming up here. Okay. Somewhere in here. Oh gosh, guys, I've lost it now. She says something here that I really wanted to point out, but now I've lost my train of thought. She says somewhere here that she doesn't know which one of the documents came first. Here it is. Here. I think this is it. So Andy says on page 3 of 228, that is not a tip, it sounds like to me. That's more of a narrative report. Is that correct? She says the bottom part is yes. The top part was considered a tip that was entered to generate a lead, which would generate the narrative report. That was kind of the hierarchy of that, if that helps you understand. Kind of the combo of the two a little bit. That's the hierarchy. It would be tip entered, and then if the tip was deemed to be made a lead, it would be. That would be generated in the database. Here we go. No, this is the question. So on line 17, Andy says, okay, you're doing a great job of explaining. Do you know which came first, or did they come at the same time? Page 2, where it says lead cleared, or page 3, where the narrative report is at the bottom? Page 3 is the one that Kathy printed in 2019. And she says, I really couldn't tell you that. It was put in the file. That's all I can tell you. Okay. You did lots and lots of, anyway, it goes on. There's a few things here where she describes her process, and at no point does she describe printing off information, guys. She does not describe that. She should only be entering into tip narratives that didn't have the information written in there already. This one was already written. It hadn't been accessed or needed to be used for many years. Tell me she wasn't printing that to send it back for checking in 2019, not because they thought Rick was guilty in 2019, but because I believe they were cross-checking everybody who was on the trails against that geofencing information. That's my sense. I think that's a pretty logical conclusion, don't you guys? I would really love to see. I'm not actually going to read the testimony, guys, because you know what? It's going to take me forever to get through it all. And I'm going to go home soon because I haven't even had dinner and it's 9 o'clock and I've got a pretty big headache because, like I said, it's been a big day. But yeah, like tell me that this does not make sense. 29th of the 10th, 2019. Kathy Shank. Look, I'm actually looking at the wrong D's. Look at the D's. Look at the D's. Look at the D. That's a similar D. I'm not going to pretend that I'm a handwriting expert because I'm not a handwriting expert. But to me, that looked kind of similar. What do you think? It's just insane. I don't know how people can sleep at night, like knowing that this is what's been done. It's horrendous, right? It's your birthday, Sharon. 29th of 10th. That's coming up soon. Happy birthday for them. Remember, Kathy Shank remembered that the day she found that sheet was the 21st of September because it was her passed away husband's birthday. Why was she changing the name in the system earlier in the year then? Come on, guys. Like, honestly, I don't get it. I don't get it. One thing I was going to say, though, is I reckon they'll still have plausible deniability here because they'll say, oh, no, she must have printed it and put it in a file, but she didn't look at it. I'm just waiting for them to say something like that. You know, they still unfortunately won't get like technically caught in the act, I don't think. I think it will just be seen as another whoopsie. We should literally change that police department to the whoopsie police department, right? It's like, oh, it's wild. Hi, USA Libertarian. It took them 2 years to lose the exculpatory evidence. Yeah. I mean, look at how many things that have been lost. Honestly, like I always just go back to this. Like in my clinic, if somebody lost even one thing, there'd be consequences. You can't just lose everything. And this is a it's a double homicide of 2 little girls. Like, come on. I'm to handwriting what Tony Liggett is to voice analysis. For sure. I mean, come on. Well, actually, Westcott commented on the handwriting, and I've got the same qualifications as her. So there you go. I'm a clin psych. I can comment. But I'm sorry, that D looked similar, doesn't it? And if you really read it, you know, the way that the handwriting is put on it just makes sense that was done later. And I think, again, I like to credit everybody who comes up with points. Tatiana had said, I think when that sheet had first come out a couple of days ago, she said, why is there handwriting on it? Like if this is printed from Orion. And yeah, I think she, again, had a point there. That handwriting was done later. Because if it was cleared, it would have been written cleared in Orion, wouldn't it? They wouldn't have written it on the piece of paper later. Yeah, that was written later, I think. And yeah, interesting, right? Super interesting, guys. So let's hope that Andy can do something with this. I do trust that Andy will try to do something if he can. Because yeah, I really hope that it doesn't have to wait through all of the other legal procedures and take time. I don't know. I don't know how the legal system works. It certainly doesn't work in the sort of fairness that I would have expected. But yeah. I would be so curious though, like if the FBI agents that were involved knew that Rick was cleared, but I guess maybe they can't remember every single person, can they? Yes, Sharon, I trust that the appellate team are working on it too. I hope they've seen this information. I didn't email it through to Stacey. I have emailed her in the past. I have never had a reply. I don't know that she would take me particularly seriously, which is why I emailed Andy, because I think Andy's more inclined to read our emails and to, like to kind of like give us a little bit more credibility. And no shade to the appellate team, but I mean, obviously they'd have a million people, I'm sure, maybe not a million, but lots of people emailing. I know I've emailed a few times and, you know, I guess they can't juggle all of that. But yeah, I forwarded it to anybody who I think is going to listen. And I think with all of the activity on X today, hashtag Richard Allen was trending on my X again today. I was like, yay, My goodness, because it had been so quiet for a little while. There hadn't been much going on. So, yeah, I'm hopeful that some of the legal minds are seeing it and will act on it. And I hope that Rick knows that there are so many of us. There are so many of us that are just here, and we're going to keep making the noise until somebody listens and justice is served. You're from Delphi, are you, Four Pits? There you go. Must be tough being in Delphi and being on Rick's side, because yeah, I mean, it sounds like it would be maybe dangerous. Definitely. I've never been to Delphi, guys. I've never been to Indiana. But if Rick does end up having a retrial, which at this stage maybe he won't need to. Maybe that exculpatory information is there. But if he does, I'll hop over there. Not sure how I'll go there, but I would go and love to be present and see what's happening. I don't really have anything else to say at the moment, guys. I've ranted at you guys for like 45 minutes now. I think I've made the point probably not as clearly as I'd hoped to, but I think we've all got the clarity here that there's no innocent explanation there. Yeah, let's all go, Sharon. We'll all go. We'll have like a big convention of all of us. Critical true crime, you'd feel like a fish out of water. So would I. Look at me. I'm a brown woman, Indian, right? Which I believe could be problematic. I'm sure not everybody there. I'm not at all trying to say that everybody there is racist or anything like that. But I mean, we know that there are some white supremacists there. And I'm also advocating for Rick Allen and trying to point out flaws in an investigation. So I don't think that I'd be very popular there either. I'm so lucky I live on the other side of the world. I don't need to look over my shoulder and worry, because I mean, I think I would be doing that if I were anywhere close to that area. It just would feel pretty unsafe because of my views here. Mullins, Liggett, and Shank created this illusion. Yeah, I think there's quite a few shady. Holman, we're going to put Holman in there too. I mean, the same names just keep coming up, don't they? The same names are consistently responsible. Oh, wow, that's an interesting mix, Sharon. Goodness. Mexican, half Arab, and Jewish. Wow. There you go. Lots of diversity here, right? I love diversity. I'm very diverse in lots of ways too. I could sit and just chat with you guys because it's so fun talking to you. It's so nice to have an interactive chat. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about though before I do finish up? Like any questions, comments, thoughts? Does anyone want to come? Actually, does anyone want to come and join me? Does anyone want to come and have a chat? Totally happy to bring someone on stage here to have a chat with me if anyone's interested. I know people get shy, but if you do want to come and talk, let me know. I can pop the link in. Everyone's shy. Well, guys, I should probably go to sleep, to be honest. I mean, go home, eat, and go to sleep because I will be back, no doubt, tomorrow. I'm hoping potentially to do some more lives this week and maybe do some collabs with some of my faves out here. So, yeah, definitely look out for more from me. I will do a more structured presentation around the lost tip as well. Yeah, so that we've like put it on the website. If you guys haven't already seen the website that I've made, yeah, like definitely have a look at it. I'll actually just pull that up on the screen before we finish up because I'm proud of it and I want you guys to see it. Okay, present, share screen. Yeah, here's the website, and I added a little video, which I'm kind of proud of at the top. The Richard Allen Justice Project was created to bring clarity to one of the most complex and troubling cases in recent history. Thousands of pages of testimony, legal filings, and technical reports can feel really overwhelming. But we've broken them down into clear presentations and videos using research, psychology, context, and critical analysis to help make sense of the raw documents so you can see the bigger picture for yourself. We implore you to explore the evidence, understand the flaws, and join the call for truth and justice. So that's the website that I made. My kids were super impressed. That's because they're little. They said it didn't sound like me. The most important part of this website is here, the presentations. This is where I pop all of my presentations with lots and lots of info in them, where I break down the evidence after doing quite a lot of research. If I do make any mistakes, let me know, but I think these are pretty good. This one is the most popular one. I just realized I'm not showing the right tab. Here we go. This one is about the geofencing, and again, it ties in with what I was saying today as well. So yeah, have a look at the website. Hopefully it can gain some traction. It's just a simple Canva website. It's not anything flash, but yeah. Oh, Sharon, yeah, for sure. You're welcome to join me. Maybe we'll do like an open panel chat later in the week. I haven't done that before because I haven't had that many people who are subscribers. So now that I do, you're all welcome to join and have a chat, and like we can talk about this. Sometimes I just like getting it off your chest. The venting is enough to just like release some of the stress. Thank you so much, Oleg Cat. I'm proud of it. And thanks, Critical True Crime. Thank you, Four Pits. Thank you, Sharon. Go back over everyone who was in here today. I know that we had some others, Teresa, Charlotte, and I've missed my friend with the Rottweiler, but I just wanted to get your name right before I say it on the screen. It is, Big JD, thank you so much. And where is my friend with the beautiful puppy dog? There we go, Rotstar. That's right, I should have remembered Rotstar. It's a good name. Yeah. Oh my goodness, just thank you guys. Feeling all the feels today. USA Libertarian, sorry, so sorry. Oh, I missed your name there, and I did see you. And anyone else, if I've missed you in the chat, please don't think that I miss you. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate everybody who actually takes the time to listen to me go on and on and on and chat. Like I really, really appreciate it. It's such a nice community. Happy to put out a link later in the week, and come join me. Let's all chat. Let's have a bit of a convention about this, and let's join. Like, we're already joining forces. There's been some amazing teamwork going on, and let's continue that. Let's keep Richard Allen trending, guys. Let's just keep it trending. Let's keep going with this. We will get Rick out, all of us together. I am going to go eat and rest. Thank you, Sharon. I love your tuxedo cat, by the way. I love kitty cats. My favorite thing in the world. All right. Okay, guys. Bye.